You're watching The Beach Brothers Show, brought to you by the 757 Battle Cats, the Community Action Team.
So look, the Beach Brothers Show is a show where we deal with Virginia business and politics.
Well, I'm Conrad Chesviner. I'm a Hampton Roads political activist. Best ideas for community improvement happen to drive me.
I help folks that are approaching retirement and in their retirement years.
I have what I call the empowerment agenda. And that means that everything I do is focused on empowerment. You want to give a salute to Tally and Twine. It's time for you to have a high quality watch made in Virginia, made in Portsmouth, Virginia, from Tally and Twine. We want to say thanks to Southern Volkswagen Greenbrier for their great level of sponsorship. If you need a new car, you don't need to go far. Southern Volkswagen Greenbrier. And ladies, if you want your brows to say, wow, check out IamLitaWee.com. Microblading by IamLitaWee.com. I'm Seiko Varner. I do credit fixes, tax resolutions. I lend private money to real estate investors, and we do debt consolidations. If you need any of these services, contact me as provided. And now it's time to get beachy on the Beach Brothers Show.
Special shout out is warranted to Charlie Roy over at Southern Volkswagen. He's selling those special quality cars that are good on gas mileage in this high gas price environment, and they can take a licking in a time when you might need to be keeping your car. Even if you run over something and damage a radiator or something along the lines, a Volkswagen will be your Timex. So head on over to Southern Volkswagen, ask for Charlie Roy, and get you a car like that. Also last night was important to local politics. The primary for the Republican nod in Virginia's 2nd and 3rd districts occurred. Jen Kakins and Terry Namkung won, respectively. Gary Hubbard turned in his last batch of signatures, hoping to get cleared by the Virginia Elections Commission to be able to run under the Green Party banner in this year's Virginia District 2 race. And I do admit to being a little disappointed in the Libertarian Party of Hampton Roads for not putting together a candidate to run in either the 2nd or 3rd district race. Regardless if Gary Hubbard gets on the ballot, he and the Green Party swung for that fence. The LPHR didn't step up to the plate for what I could see so far, so a little modicum of disappointment on that race there. I'd also like to take the temperature of the local 2nd district Republican race, which seemed to me to have a race of 4 military people trying their hardest to fight over a bowl of deep conservative chow. Kiggins won pretty easily, yes, but Jerome Bell finished second with 11,000 votes, and he wanted to execute participants of the 2020 election. He said that on a tweet once. Tommy Altman was trying to copy himself after Madison Cawthorn, a guy the Republican Party in North Carolina abandoned by his antics. All combined, the 4 got about 41,500 votes. When I ran for city council most recently in 2020, I got 52,500. I was only subject to the voter pool of Virginia Beach, and the 2nd district covered the eastern shore through Virginia Beach into Chesapeake and out to Suffolk. And I finished a distant second that day to Republican Michael Berlucci. The 3rd finisher that day with 27,000 votes, again, was Gary Hubbard. It will be quite interesting to see if he gets on the 2nd district Congress ballot, because if he musters 27,000 votes again, then he will significantly impact the race, which now includes Jen Kakins, and of course, Democrat incumbent Elaine Loria. Remember, Democrat Congresswoman Elaine Loria donated $7,500 to Republican Michael Berlucci over his city council campaign, and Republican Berlucci's Democrat challenger, suggested by the Virginia Beach Democratic Committee themselves, was myself. Speaking of my candidacy, I'm a former city council candidate to Virginia Beach's District 10. I grabbed the paperwork a while back to run this year, but I didn't submit the paperwork to run or even start a campaign organization. I found Jennifer Rouse to be just the right candidate for the 10th district. Bright and nuanced, Jennifer will be sorely needed to Virginia Beach City Council. And like Kim Bentley in the school board race in Virginia Beach 10, she'll be someone I'll actively support and endorse. Their service to the community will be a boon. Which brings me to tonight's guest, Virginia Beach activist Sheri Johnson. Sheri, the founder of Giving with a Golden Hand, a nonprofit organization in Hampton Roads. She loves helping the community. She's a podcaster. Her show named Sister to Sister. She's a mom to three lovely ladies and is with her soulmate, Wayne Jackson. Recently, tragically hit her family, and she's more determined than ever for change. And we'll discuss all that and more right now. So let me go ahead and bring her on. Ms. Sheri Johnson, how are you tonight?
I am great. I'm wonderful, and thank you so much for having me on your show. I'm very appreciative.
Thank you for wanting to come on and just shoot the breeze about local issues and, of course, yourself and things that you're passionate about. So let me go ahead with the first question. Giving with a Golden Hand. Tell us about that organization and its vision.
So our vision is to help the underserved and underprivileged communities in the Hampton Roads area. Giving with the Golden Hand is a nonprofit that founded in June of 2020. Since we founded the nonprofit, we have helped so many families with Pampers. We give out over 1,000 Pampers a month. We help with food. We help with holidays as far as we giving out turkey. Last year we gave out 100 turkey vouchers and ham vouchers. We do food drives. We help nursing homes. We help the seniors in the area. Giving with the Golden Hand is a nonprofit where we believe in giving. We believe in putting out one hand and help another hand. So that's what a nonprofit is. And I'm excited about the nonprofit and where the nonprofit is going to go in years to come.
If you don't mind me asking, when did it begin?
It began in June of 2020. Before the nonprofit actually beginning in June 2020, I did have a business. So I actually ran my nonprofit under my business for 2 years until someone told me, like, what are you doing? You know, you can form it into a nonprofit. So I actually formed a nonprofit. So June 2020. So this year I actually celebrated my 2-year anniversary.
All right, let me hop back on here. 2 years fighting for the community, so that must be pretty cool to just see where it has been when it started under a business and now a nonprofit. Hopefully you've seen it grow a lot and definitely look to see it grow a lot more. We got a comment here. Definitely a blessing. So perhaps you're also providing blessings to the community through your various work. I understand that you also are in the media, sort of like I am. You run a show called Sister to Sister. And of course, the Beach Brothers show likes hyping good media here. So tell me about that, what it does, when it started, all the good stuff.
All right. So actually, it's been 1 year and 3 months that I started my podcast. I started my podcast because there's so much going on in the community and so many people are scared of the youth or what's happening in the community. They want to address the issues. So I formed the podcast in April of 2021. It was Sister to Sister, where we talk about events. We have different people come on. Last year I had, a police officer come up there from the city of Virginia Beach. I had a reverend. I had Muslims come on my show. It's just different people who have their opinion and they want to they have a voice. And I just give them the opportunity and a platform to voice their opinion and how they feel. And so I love the podcast. I love what it does. I love how we're able to serve and reach so many homes and people are into it. So like your platform, I love your platform. I mean, I think you reached out to me about, I don't know, it was like some months ago. And you was asking me questions about the podcast. So it's an honor to be here because you reached out and we never connected. So now we're here talking. So the podcast, it reaches so many people with the podcast when you do it. So I love it. I love the impact that it can have. When you're passionate there and your heart there, you're gonna meet and reach the right people.
This show started right around 2020 as well, right during they were still doing primaries. So that would have been April-ish. We've had a lot of cool guests. We aim for politics and business. You aim for certain guests. What might have been your favorite guest and most interesting topic to this point?
Okay, so I have a lot of guests. So my guest is community based. So if you have anything about community, we have that. We had people who was in jail for a long time. They changed their life around. They came on the show. They were often the youth jobs, willing to talk to the jobs. I could say I could say three memorable ones. One is Pastor James Whisper. I've interviewed him, and he talked about his son being murdered. And the thing about his son being murdered, the person who was one of the guys who is in jail now for his murder, I actually work on cases, so I was fighting to get the guy home who murdered his son, and he came on the show and he's agreeing and fighting with me to help the other guy get home because he didn't pull the trigger and he's in there for life. So that was a good case for me just to see his compassion, his heart, and to see how he's living the truth. He's walking in his truth. So I enjoyed interviewing Pastor Whisper. I also enjoyed Police Officer Washington. I enjoyed. He couldn't tell us too much without going crossing the line because he's a police officer. But just having a dialogue with him and he's understanding how we, our citizens, are coming, and then he was giving us advice of how to do when the police comes on you. So that was a good guess as well. And then I'll say the third one is when I had Muslims come on the show and they were able to voice their opinion. And then you had people who had a different religion and they were kind of upset because they voiced their opinion. But at the end of the day, we had to let them know that everybody has an opinion, so no one's opinion is a more valuable than the other. So I love the show. I love what I do because everyone from every aspect comes, and we're just empowering the community. Like everybody, because you're a certain denomination or a certain background doesn't mean can't be effective in the community. So my podcast is for effectiveness, and we want to make a change.
That sounds very, very cool, in my opinion. But let's switch the show tone tonight over to a little bit more community activism and a little bit more personal here. You've been involved before in the community, but a deeper community tragedy recently struck your family. So, sort of break it down for us. What initially happened, what has happened community wise that affected you. And as you do that, I'll bring on some pictures that you had shared with me for the screen.
Okay, so on May 31st of 2022, I can honestly tell you, I don't know if my life will ever completely be the same. There is a part of me that's going to be missing, and I'm going to forever love him. My nephew was murdered twice on May 31st. He was murdered by the person who actually pulled the trigger, and he was murdered by the city of Virginia Beach. So until I get all the answers, I'm going to continue to fight for my nephew. I'm going to continue to stand on his name, and I'm going to continue to work hard for other youth and other families to not feel the pain that we feel since he's been gone. May 31st is a day that I'll always remember. I'll remember before it happened. Um, he said, "Seeing a little bit, Auntie," because I left that day, and I told him I wasn't feeling well, so I told him what I wanted for dinner, and he sent us the ingredients to get it for dinner. And I was preparing for him to cook dinner because I wasn't feeling well, and that was taken from me in a 15-minute time period. My nephew was taken from me. So March 31st, 9:15 p.m., City of Virginia Beach, Sunco gas station. My life has been changed forever. But what I will say about the change is I'm going to make positive changes in his name, and he will forever live on.
On the vein of positive change, I think in relation to what happened to him, what has happened to you since, is where you could sort of notice where change needs to happen. So, for the sake of the city of Virginia Beach, as an institution, has everything from the police to even elected leaders been as helpful as they should be?
No, sir, they have not. I'm in a community. I communicate with community leaders, and I'm in the community. I'm always the one to help other people families, so now my family needs help. So I can say that I have spoke to the mayor after my nephew's passing. I'm not completely pleased with the response I got. I know it takes time. I know I can't get all the answers right then and there, but I need more transparency. Um, Leading up to the incident with my nephew, he was residing in my home. I have not heard from a detective tracing his footsteps. I have not heard from anyone regarding that situation. I feel like the city of Virginia Beach have let me down. They have let my family down, and they have let me down. And I am deeply hurt. I'm deeply angry because there's nothing that I won't do for my community. There's nothing I won't do for my city. There's nothing I won't do for Hampton Roads. I have sacrificed many hours. I have sacrificed time. I have sacrificed times away from my family and my kids for my community. Now I need the same energy in return to get all the answers for my nephew about what happened. Why was he laying on the ground for 3 hours or more? Why no ambulance showed up on scene? Why was he across the street from a fire station and no one came? So yes, I have a lot of answers that I need, and I need closure, and the family needs closure. So why wasn't CPR given once they told someone else to stop? So I have answers, and I want them done. So until then, I'm not I don't have the closure, and as you said, I don't feel like they have done what they said they did. I don't feel like and that's one thing I learned about this, Mr. Conrad, is when you're not personally affected, you don't care too much. And I feel like with them being a city officials and where they're at, and they're over us, they should care even if it hasn't personally affected them, because it has personally affected a family in their city.
Hmm. And I want to join you at least in the effort to try to move in positive change. So perhaps this could be one of the instances that we see. Okay, there's something that needs changing simply on an institutional level and multiple levels of that institution. And we might not initially know how to change it, but we know that we have to. And I think beyond just this one particular instance, it could be also thought of as broader topically. So when we look at something like gun violence, I first assume it isn't so blanketly solved, but I know I personally want deeper gun control. That's a personal issue of mine, but that won't eliminate stuff overnight. Um, as a fellow community worker, what are your thoughts on the multiple layers of gun violence here in the 757?
I want to say we need, first of all, you have to start with our mental and our emotional. Like, people are affected mentally and emotionally, and how do you resolve that? How do you solve that? And what do you people are going to find ways to take care of their family. So they're going to are you going to work for a little to take care of your family? Or are you going to go on the street where you have family who's like your family, who has your back, and you feel like they have your back, and then you want to protect them by any way? So I just feel like we need more family. We need more programs for our youth. Our youth, we are leaving out our youth in so much. We don't really do nothing for our youth until something happens. So what are we going to do to prevent gun like more shootings from happening, or more people having so much access to guns? What are we going to do to prevent that? How are we going to prevent that? We need to start working on more solutions. One thing about we're more people like problems, but we need people who can see a problem and then give us alternatives for solutions. So we're lacking solutions. So, Mr. Conrad, I don't know if we're ever going to stop guns. I don't know if guns are ever going to stop coming, or we're ever going to stop it. But I feel that we need to start reaching our youth. We need to start being there for our youth more. We need to start giving more activities to do. I'm in summertime right now, Mr. Conrad. Where there's no, how many basketball courts are open? How many gyms are open? Parents are working barely to make ends meet, so parents don't have a lot to give the kids extra. So if I don't have a lot to give a kid extra, then the kid's going to go out there and get it one way or the other. So what do we have for them? And like, you don't want to keep putting them in jail. You don't want to like, kids resort to things because there's nothing to do. And we need to find something for our youth to do. We got to. We got to. And if we don't find anything for them to do, and if we don't find more mentors for them, if we don't find more people to step up, then we're gonna lose so many more youth in our communities.
Bringing what we need to know happening to improve the community to the voters is also going to be something important. So the community action team, which I'm a part of, and want to help the community via education, I'd say that we like to educate voters beyond just a party view. So personally, I do believe it's important to vote for community improvement beyond just the blue party and the red party.
I agree. I agree. You have to study your candidates. You have to make sure your candidates are aligning to what you see for you and your family. So many people, like, you vote for that person's a Democratic, but they don't line up with your views or your family views or where you see yourself. So you're doing yourself an injustice because you're voting based on parties. You have to stop voting based on parties. Vote on what's best for where you want to see yourself, where you want to see your community, where you want to see your generations to come after you. I don't believe in voting on parties. I don't say Democrat, Republican. No, it's whoever's vision line up with my vision. That's what I'm going to vote for, and that's what we're lacking. We're voting based on a color. No, you're getting it backwards. The more you base vote on a color, you're like you're lacking, you're cutting yourself short. You're selling yourself short because you might be a Democrat and you're voting for Democrat, but the Republican may have all the values or views of where you see yourself, your family, and your community. So you didn't vote because of a color. Like, we need to research our candidates. Voting is very important. Stop just voting for big elections. Vote for the elections where local matters. Local matters more than anyone knows. You have to start voting local and understanding who you're voting for and why you're voting for them. And you have to make sure that when they're talking to you, they're not just talking for your vote, talking because they understand you and where you're going. And stop voting for popularity.
Mhm.
Who cares if 1,000 people know somebody? Mr. Conrad, I didn't know you was running. If I knew you were running and you line up to my values and my vision, I'm going to vote for you. It doesn't matter about the party. So I think when it comes to voting, we need to be more transparent in the community and letting people know, vote for your values and don't vote for the party. Vote for what the people are really saying. And don't vote for somebody because they came to your church a
Mhm.
week before for elections. That happens so much.
Yeah.
Like, I see so many people come to the church or wherever there's a group of people and say, "Oh, I'm running for so and so and vote for me," and then you never hear from them again after you vote. So what do you actually vote for? You voted for a person who came to your church who you know nothing about. You don't know anything about his values. You don't know where he's headed, but you voted for him because he came to your church. Don't do that. Vote to make sure that person lines up to what you are and your vision and where you're going. And we're perishing and lacking as people because we're voting on color. Stop voting on color. And we're not going to go far that way. And we're going to continue to it's going to continue to be a popularity test because we're voting on color.
I'd agree with that sentiment, especially the part about seemingly showing up to churches coincidentally right before an important election day. Like, that's the time that you would be seen in the community, is in a congregation where that's where most of the community is at, even though the community is always there day to day, close to their houses and their businesses out in the street. Um, you could probably more sincerely show yourself to people who you want to vote for them if you meet them there, as opposed to just churches like one time a year before an election. But I guess that's more of an anecdote that I would share on that matter. Um, I know you run the nonprofit, and I know it helps, but how does that mesh when you yourself need help?
That is a great question. I'm gonna tell you, on May 31st, when I got that call, I was ready to give it all up. I said, I do everything for the community. I do everything I can, and now I'm here helpless. I'm helpless. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know who's gonna help me. I'm the source for everyone else. I'm the energy for everyone else. I'm there for everyone else. I'm there for their family, their community, and now I'm in need. So that's a good question. I I spoke fast because I said I just didn't want to do this anymore. But I'm going to get back in the game and continue to do what I do and serve with my whole heart and understand that I have a bigger purpose and vision now. I have my nephew's honor, his name. I have to keep honoring and keep pushing for stop the violence and gun control. So now I have something bigger to fight for. But it's hard. It's hard when you're the one always giving and you're always someone and you don't ask and you always make a way for somebody else. It's kind of hard now that I'm the one who need help. I'm the one who need the strength. I'm the one who need the encouragement. I'm the one who needs the push to keep going when I just want to give up because he's not here. So that's a very good question. I'm glad you asked it.
Thank you. I am curious. Have other organizations in the area or people who are important in the community, have they reached out in this time of need, or is it hard to reach people? And that could be something to change itself. Is how hard it is to reach other people who are important.
I'm gonna say if it hasn't affected you directly or you never been there, you just fly past it. I have had Daryl Redmond help me. He's the block in Portsmouth. He's a mentor program. He has helped me. He deals with gun violence. I had the Black Caucus help me. Mr. Ron Taylor helped me. Um, I had Eastern Star Sisters help me for my chapter. What I want to say about this question is the people I thought would be there, they weren't, and I'm okay with that. The people who have went through tragedy or it has affected them, they have been there. On this journey of life, I have learned to realize I'm going to be thankful for the people who are there, and I'm not going to give credit to the ones who are not. So that is a very good question. But the people who I thought, they haven't been, and the people who I didn't expect or least expect, they have been. So I'm
Mhm.
thankful for the ones who have. I'm thankful for you even airing my story. I'm thankful for you reaching out, responding back to me. So I'm thankful for the ones who are able to let me talk and share my story, my nonprofit, my nephew. So, Mr. Conrad, I'm going to continue to be thankful and grateful for the ones who have my back, and I'm going to continue to honor him and continue to keep his name alive as I can. And then, you know how it goes, Mr. Conrad. When you reach a certain level, people are going to come and say, "I know you now."
Mhm.
And I'll never forget the people who didn't know me when I was going through grieving, didn't know if I was coming or going. I'll never forget that, Mr. Conrad. So I'm gonna keep loving and supporting the ones who supported me and the ones who's helping me to keep my nephew's name alive.
Excellent. Now, as we close out, I want to give you the opportunity to let all the Beach Brothers Show viewers know how to help you, how to stay in contact with you, and any other important leaks, be it like a Twitter handle or Facebook or a website, even an email address that you want to share so more of us could get involved.
All right. Again, my name is Sheri Johnson. My nonprofit is Giving with the Golden Hands. We are on Facebook, Giving with the Golden Hand. We have a website, givingwiththegoldenhand.org. We are on Instagram, Giving with the Golden Hand. You can reach out to me on the platform. You can help me by keeping my nephew's name alive, Juwan Johnson. You can help me by sharing the story. It's been aired on 3, 10, and 13. Juwan Johnson, May 31st, he was murdered at the Sunco gas station. You can help me continue to fight for change and laws, not just for my family, but your family and the community. We want to do a better way of having families on the ground and seeing their families and loved ones. So we want to fight for that. We want to fight for change as far as making the politicians more responsible. We elected them in office to take care of our whole city. So we need them to step up for our city. Um, Family for the nonprofits, like support the nonprofit in ways as donating and helping and always send an encouraging word because you don't know what families go through, not just my family. This grieving is not fast. Everyone grieves different. It's gonna be a while and a long time for us to heal. For his, continue to pray for his parents and his siblings. My nephew has 6 other siblings, so we want to be strong for them. We want to find mentors. We want to find good grief counselors. So I want the story to keep going. So if you can help me with the story to keep going and keep sharing it and keep stopping someone else's family for having their family on a t-shirt, for closing their eyes and seeing their family member on the ground from being shot, or seeing a family member on the ground because the ambulance didn't show up or there was no response for them, or prevent a family from accepting their family's their diploma. He graduated last Friday and he should have been there. There's no reason my nephew shouldn't have been there to get his own diploma. There's no reason that he should have been celebrating with the class of 2022 because he worked hard from kindergarten to be a senior for that moment. And that moment was taken away in a blink of an eye. I don't want it to be your family, his family, their family. And it's not just our family problem. This is a community problem. We need the community to step up and help us get answers, to make changes in laws, make changes in the future. And the biggest thing I'm going to say is love on your family and love on who loves you. And don't worry about who's not supporting you. It's going to be okay. Because I'm a firm believer that the right people are going to come in your life at the right time to support you and elevate where you need to go.
That's great. And I thank you for hopping on, Ms. Sheri, for just sharing everything that's important to you right now. I hope I'm able to actually personally, with both the show, the community action team, so many other groups that I want to help you focus and help change the way things need to be. So I'm glad you're able to at least get that ball rolling that you have before and also tonight. And I look forward to days down the line where we're able to help each other. So I thank you for coming on tonight.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. I hope you have a great night yourself, and I'll catch you around next time. Now, that was Miss Sheri Johnson in Virginia Beach. I hope you pay attention to her story tonight, how the community violence has affected her and how she's already on the ground trying to help this community out. So you make sure that you help out with her. And I hope you enjoy all the great Beach Brother show down the line very soon. And also stay really in tune to your local politics. I'll try to help out on that with all these great shows that we can have and great interviews. For tonight, I just hope you have a great night.
It's never too early or too late to plan for retirement. Let me show you how to protect yourself, your loved ones, and your assets from loss due to catastrophic decisions that may affect you the rest of your life. Please call me.
This show was brought to you by Positive Vibes Incorporated, our consulting services. We do credit fixes, we do tax resolution, we lend private money, and debt consolidation. So if you need some of these services, we're waiting here for you. Credit fixes, tax resolutions, private money, and debt consolidation. Make sure you call Positive Vibes Incorporated.